Hey, are you confused by terms in social media, all that fun jargon stuff?
Mm.
Well, like things like impressions, call to actions, the at sign, the hashtag sign, all that fun stuff. So, well, stay tuned today because we're hopefully going to lift all the mystery and just tell you how it is, as they say.
Well, happy Friday, Emer. Um, and today is a wonderful day because
Is it?
today
Because
it
it's
is.
Friday and we're together.
Yeah, well, I do. Yeah, I love Fridays, and we having our little chats and stuff. But
Oh, you're
do
being
you
a bit
know
all sweetness and light, aren't you?
I am? Well, funny you should mention
Why?
sweetness because according to daysoftheyear.com, today is World Chocolate Day.
It is not. Seriously, is it?
World Chocolate Day. I love chocolate. And do you know what I do love? And it's not because it's deemed the healthy craze. I love
Go
dark
on.
chocolate.
Do you?
85,
Like,
85, 90%. I love. Yeah.
no, I would be like you know, milk chocolate girl, and
Right.
yeah, oh, because you see, I'm bitter enough, isn't that what they say?
Yeah, you are bitter. Yeah, that's very true, actually.
Yeah. Gotta balance it. There you go.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
hey, yes, but apart from World Chocolate Day, I suppose we do need to kick off and move on to the show. But obviously, before we jump into all of the wonderful terms and I suppose abbreviations,
Hold on a second. I have just noticed that it's
yes.
not just World Chocolate Day.
Oh,
It's
right.
Global Forgiveness Day. So there you go. I
Ah,
forgive you for all those social media, digital marketing, dad
you
style
love.
jokes, the digital giggle. There you go.
Listen, you loved those jokes. Yeah,
I've,
and
I've
as
actually
May,
people saying, bring it back. Somebody said
yeah,
to me
well,
yesterday,
May
they,
King on one of our previous shows, May King loved my joke, so we might have to drop in the odd joke
oh,
now and then.
okay,
So
okay. Well, not today. Otherwise, I will not
not
forgive
to,
you.
yeah, no, that's very
So,
true, very true.
yeah.
But listen, before we crack in with the show, if you have missed any of the previous shows, they are all up on the Let's Get Social Show podcast, which you can catch on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, and of course on the Dublin South FM website. And of course,
Yes, and if video is your thing, do jump over and see us on YouTube at the Let's Get Social Show, and you can subscribe. Please do. We like to, welcome new subscribers. Ring that bell, and
ding ding.
even, yeah, leave us a comment so we can actually maybe turn whatever your comment is into a show because we're always looking for great ideas, and we have great listeners. So
Absolutely.
please do.
And finally, if email is how you like to communicate, well, then drop us an email to inquiries@dublinsouthfm.ie. Let us know if you have any ideas for shows, or even maybe there's a guest you'd like us to try and get on the show who's in the social media space. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we're talking terms today, Emer. Terms.
Yeah. I should have my terms and conditions reviewed after this now, for the show.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, I think so. Well, I suppose the first term is sort of is something that you and I have both gone through with our respective partners. It is, of course, engagement, but not the engagement as in the wedding bells engagement.
Did you get down on one knee?
Did I get down on? No, I actually didn't. No, I didn't get down on one knee. What? No. Well, it was kind of weird. I sort of proposed after 4 weeks, and then we went away, and then yeah.
That was quick. You're a fast mover.
Yeah, just like my content, it moves fast.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But listen, what does engagement mean in the social media sense? Well, I suppose very simply, it's the level of interaction and involvement between the user of social media and the contents they're viewing and they're interacting with. So I suppose you're talking, likes, comments, shares, reactions, and obviously, I suppose some of the ultimate engagement is clicks. Are people clicking and really engaging? So
because people wonder about like how important engagement is, and it is super important. Because otherwise your post just disappears. Nobody notices it. When you get engagement, people go, "Oh, 30 likes or whatever."
Yeah, like I do think for businesses, all engagement, I suppose, not all engagement is created equally. You could have a post that has maybe 50 to 100 likes,
Yeah.
but anyone could just kind of click like, it's a very easy thing. But if someone has actually taken the time to maybe comment on your post,
Yeah.
or has maybe reshared your post with
Yeah.
their community, or has gone to the trouble to not only comment, maybe click on your link to come to your website. So I always kind of feel, a like is nice, but really what you want is engagement where they're taking action.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
feeling anyways.
Oh, I totally agree, because you can scroll down, like May King was saying in our last show, scroll up and down, and you won't actually, get that person to stop. And you need to sort of say, I need to post something that will boost engagement. So that's why it's really important to be considering the content you're going to post so that you get the engagement.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so you're scrolling down your feed, Philip, and I know you always like to make a good impression. Boom, boom. But the next term is called impressions. So what's an impression? It's basically the number of times your content is displayed by Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the rest. Yeah. And regardless of whether it's clicked or not. So if, you're scrolling down through, that's kind of.
And that's an important thing to remember.
Yeah.
To remember, just because you got 100,000 impressions and you might go, oh, that's amazing.
No, not all.
It doesn't necessarily, they got 100,000 clicks,
No.
Of the 100,000, how many, if you go back to the first point, how many people then actually engaged with that?
Yeah.
So just be mindful of that. Don't get sucked into the big figures that may not necessarily tell the full story.
Yeah. So that was kind of good to show the difference between the both of them there, that way, because sometimes I think people get a bit confused.
Yeah.
So
like another term that kind of people hear sometimes is reach. And that tends to refer to the total number of unique individuals who have viewed or been exposed to a particular piece of content on social media. So once again,
like when you're saying to somebody like, I'm going to help you expand your reach.
Yeah. It's very much okay. Yeah. You're trying to very much, I suppose, measure the potential audience size that a potential post or video or advertisement can actually and reach or get in front of.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, I suppose, marry that around with kind of trying to reach enough people who potentially have the appetite to maybe engage with your content, and then may then go on to actually help you achieve your long-term objectives.
Yeah. So again, it's another valuable, metric to, consider, because I think a lot of people would be just more like, they're more interested in the engagement, but, reach is another really important point to, look at,
absolutely. Well, absolutely. Like, I suppose it's just really kind of, it just gives you an idea of, sometimes kind of reach tends to be kind of more kind of, you hear it more when you're talking about Facebook, the reach of an ad or the reach of a potential organic post. So it just gives you an idea of really, from a unique amount of individuals, how can you
I was going to say to you there that especially when you're doing paid ads, you can see the kind of reach you can have, with the little, colored.
Yeah, that's right. Like as you're in ad manager, Facebook, like it's not 100% accurate, but it gives you a potential idea. Like does it? But it's once again to always say to businesses, if your ad manager is telling you, okay, based on your demographic or your broad targeting, you potentially in your location could reach 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Don't suddenly think, oh, that's great. 50,000 people are going to potentially maybe click on our ad or whatever. It's just that the opportunity to maybe expose your ad to them is there.
And make an impression.
Exactly, and make an impression. But then it still comes back down to, your ads, your creative, and what you're talking about as to whether they're going to engage.
Yeah.
engagement.
Yeah. There you go. We're between impressions, engagement, reach.
Yeah.
It's all coming out now. The other
Next one's,
thing that
the next one's a bit agricultural, isn't it?
yeah, I got my wellies on here. Organic. Yeah. And I'm not talking apples or carrots here. We're talking about what an organic post is. Most people will recognize, paid posts, right? But organic are the free ones that you post. Yeah. And what people should think about is a good gauge even for an ad is if you get really good engagement on a organic post, that will help you maybe start the ball rolling with your paid ads. So again, it's anything that is, something that you don't pay for, like, an organic post could be a story or reels or, just your normal post in feed, say for Facebook, your tweets, your LinkedIn posts, your even your Pinterest. And the old platform that I keep knocking on about is the Google Business Profile. That's another organic post for you as well. So, there's value in getting a good organic feed. And then if you decide then to go down the paid route, you'll then see what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I suppose as social media has progressed and the years have progressed, especially now with Elon at the helm of Twitter, he is turning Twitter into an even more pay-for-play environment. Do you
think that's going to stop people joining Twitter, or do you think it's going to tell people are thinking, I'm out of here, I'm going to go and do something else?
I think time will tell. Like, from businesses, I suppose businesses go on to Twitter to maybe engage, but hopefully to maybe use it from a showcasing what they're doing. And if they don't see a return.
Yeah. Or see it for trending, like what's trending on it.
Exactly. So it may morph into something else. But as we saw with Facebook, organic reach, if you do, like, I suppose
it's going down.
Like any business that are on there, and you might say, wow, we've got 30,000-40,000 followers or fans on our business page. But then you do an organic post about maybe your latest service or behind the scenes, and you're only reaching maybe 150, 200 people. It's just, unfortunately, that's the way it has gone. So it leads into the next term that you may hear of, which is a complement to organic, which is paid. Yeah. And exactly as you said, Emer, essentially paid traffic is traffic that you've had to pay to generate through paid advertising. So all of the social media channels.
Now, the good thing, as you know, because you're an expert in the paid aspect, Philip,
I am.
you are, is that, sometimes people panic about, how much do you put on an ad, and how long will you run it for? And there's a little bit of a safety net in there with the lifetime budget. So you put up a certain amount, and when it's gone, rather than daily amounts. Isn't that the best route starting out?
Yeah, like I certainly think you have different budgeting and you have different kind of ad creation tools across all of the different platforms. Like certainly Facebook is probably one of the kind of first protocols when people think of advertising, just because of, I think it's one of the easier kind of ad platforms to get started in, and obviously because of the interest in demographic data it still has, even though it's removing lots of interest data from its systems, it's one that you can still get onto very easily. I always say to people, start off small, test out. Maybe it might start off just as you said, you might have a very popular organic post, and maybe for the first couple of times, maybe just boost that post. But then to bring yourself into Ads Manager, where you have a lot more control. And then it might just be a case of set yourself a little kind of one-off budget so that you don't run the risk of spending something that you don't have.
Last thing would you end up, going, I'll have to go to the bank and pay for that. Get a loan. But isn't it one thing I think is good is that you get so much back in a sense of you can see in the analytics from the paid compared to the organic, because the organic used to be able to, I used to call it the mountain, and you can see was the best time to post, and you could see, get a feel for who your audience is. Where paid you get that, where with organic you don't. So there are some benefits to going down the paid route.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, like obviously with your organic, if you are creating posts that you want to try organically bring people back to your website, using tools like the Google URL builder, as I mentioned before, where you're creating shortened links that you can track in your Google Analytics can sort of help. But certainly when you're doing ads, you have a huge host of metrics around what type of creative is working, potentially a best time to post. And it does complement it. Sort of, unfortunately, it is almost a mandatory thing now that you need to use ads within your social media. To kind of really kind of focus on reaching as many of your target audience as you can.
And get more engagement, as they say.
That's it.
And maybe something more clicks. The next thing that people do still do have maybe a little bit of a challenge with, but we have touched on this before in one of the previous shows, so do go check it out. All about hashtags. So hashtags are really important. They are, first of all, a word or a phrase put together with the little hashtag. It's like a H on the side. On the side.
X's and O's, if you know. X.
Or
if you're in America, maybe you might understand it as the pound sign.
And we had gone through, how many to have on posts and that, and it's come down. Like, do you remember, like with Instagram, it was, you had to have 30 hashtags.
30 hashtags,
It's now saying about 9,
that's right. 6 to 9.
LinkedIn about 4.
They're saying Twitter 2 or 3, I think. Facebook but 4 to 6.
It does. But the thing about it is, a little tip would be to use whatever the reason your post is there for as a hashtag. If you're solving a problem for your target audience, make that a hashtag, because they could search for that problem as a hashtag and you will pop up,
Like if you're on TikTok, you can use hashtags on your TikTok videos. And some good hashtag strategies would be maybe 2 to 3 hashtags that are focused on what your video is about. 2 to 3 hashtags that are focused on who your target audience is. So it might be hashtag Facebook ad tips, hashtag SME business owners. So you
hashtag sort of, fellow Twyford.
Well, that's a good point, Emer. Like the branded hashtag, What's a branded hashtag? Like if you have, for example, a company brand ethos, like, or you're in an event, like if you listen to the May King Tang interview that we did, she was talking about some of the conference event hashtags that were being used, like hashtag AIM 2023 for a marketing conference she was at. So and the great thing about that is that if you have that branded hashtag and you're using it across your content, say on Twitter, and you have it in your bio, when people click on it, they can see all of the content you posted, say on Twitter.
It's like a little filing cabinet.
Like a little filing cabinet, indeed.
So it's a great way to categorize what you're posting. So
exactly. Like the other, and it leads on quite nicely then as well with something like a hashtag, or even just making sure you're checking your notifications, or for mentions of your company name, is the whole area of what's known as user-generated content.
It's actually a great strategy, especially if you've got a competition or you're promoting something, get your audience involved.
Well, absolutely. Well, I know, like I worked on a campaign for a wonderful charity a number of years back. And we basically just communicated with the audience to get involved, to use the hashtag, to share their story online, to make sure they tagged the charity.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing because they created all the content, as in there was all their photos of their doing their challenge and all of their friends supporting them. So I was just getting photos and videos of them raising money for this charity that then we could put out on our feed. And
it's such a good feel factor as well.
It's fantastic,
because people feel like they're part of the whole you know, whether it's competition or like for the charity, you know, the event or whatever you're putting out.
Exactly. So think about user generated content. Can you create a campaign that actually will get your users involved? Potentially, ideally, like I think Starbucks have done this really well, where in America, I think it might have been where they asked people to, you know, to showcase what they're doing when they're having their next Starbucks, or where do they have their Starbucks or something, and people were flooding social, tagging them with pictures of their latte. Here I am on my morning latte after a jog or something, and it just gets, if that makes sense. So definitely, it's a wonderful strategy to look at.
Yeah. And you then get your 5 minutes of fame as well. So it's a good thing.
Yes, indeed. You know? Yeah.
So, back to the old boring stuff, analytics. Yeah.
It's not boring. To measure is to know, Eber.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, it is good to go and check your analytics. Each of the platforms have their own, you know, analytical department, as they say, and you can go in and see, you know, when's the best time to put, like on Twitter, you have the media section. You can go in and see. It looks like a checkerboard, you know. You have even on like LinkedIn, you know, you can go up, and even on the top of the mobile phone, you know, on the mobile phone, you see it on the top, you know, it's analytics, and hopefully you'd like it in green, but more times it's in red. You know, and it gives you some information, like things that we talked about earlier, like impressions and stuff, you know. So it's worth looking and taking note. And then you can see then, that post seems to be doing really well. Maybe, as you were saying, go and then move it forward for a paid approach, you know, that way.
Absolutely.
So, and it will get you to, it'll get you to realize that, you know, that you're on the right track too.
Yeah, very much so. And like, you know, checking your Google Analytics as well, you know, how are people interacting on your website, you know, understanding what channels, what social media channels and what content on those channels is bringing people back to your site.
Yeah.
Are there certain pages that people are spending lots of time on that you never maybe considered? So maybe you should.
And the pages that they're not visiting are the ones that you need to update.
Are they going to your landing page from your social and literally 90% of them bounce? You know, is there something wrong? You know, maybe so it's so.
And you don't want a high bounce rate.
No,
because that means that somebody's done a Tigger and they've popped in and they've popped back out. You want them to have, it's a phrase, I know it's something that it's another tangent off what we're talking about, but dwell time. You want people to hang about and have a little look around and maybe pop into other pages and then click whatever your call to action is, you know, whether you want to buy something or book a call or reserve something. It's and then you get to feel like, you know, that page is doing really well, or need to update that one, you know, something like that.
Exactly. Like another phrase that you'll come across, especially if you start to go into things like advertisement, is conversion rate.
Oh, so, that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I said, like the simple way to kind of maybe look at it would be is that it just refers to the percentage of people who've taken a desired action after interacting with a piece of content or an advertisement.
Yeah. It's like, if, you know, like, for example, your conversion rate with your, say, like people that opened your email, saved your email marketing, you know?
Yeah.
Would be
fill out a form on your site or made a purchase.
Yeah.
Subscribing to a newsletter. You know, and the higher you can get that conversion rate, the higher obviously you're doing there's something interest. Right.
Yeah.
There's interest. People are giving you the ultimate engagement, which is clicking and then taking the action to convert. So that's really what it is, you know, and obviously you're trying to increase that conversion rate all the time. You want more and more people to convert.
Yeah. And you have to have a really good call to action, which is the next one.
Or
So
CTA.
You want to end up, So you want to have something where you can get people to sort of understand what you want them to do. So that's actually a good thing to really think, how do you want your call to action to look? Do you want it to stand out like a nice big button? Or do you want it, to kind of guide them to do something like check out a blog or whatever it is? What's your call to action,
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, and it's always, I suppose, this is where if you have a good copywriter, someone who can appeal to the emotions or what's going to trigger maybe the pain point of your target audience, where you're sort of answering what they need. So, and sometimes people, you might see it sometimes in sales, where there's a sense of urgency. Take the offer today before it goes, or, last few places left, or whatever it might be. So it's always very kind of try and create something that's going to compel.
I know. I was going to say, Philip, it looks like our time is kind of flying in.
Yes, we're nearly there.
Yeah,
about 4 minutes left, so I think we're.
Yeah, I just you talk about this all day. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is because I know we've got a lot to cover. So again, that's to do with like after you got them to follow your call to action. Hopefully, you, as you say, is get a good click-through rate. What do you think should be a good click-through rate?
I suppose it really it depends. It depends on what you're trying to achieve, really. It's and what you're trying to offer. Like, I suppose, like click-through is the percentage of people who will click on your link or your call to action. If you see a low CTR, maybe your ad is wrong, or what you're offering is just not hitting. Where if your CTR is increasing, obviously it's motivating people to click through. But generally you can calculate it by dividing the number of clicks by the number of impressions, views, or views of the content. So that gives you an overall idea as to how effective your post.
So the higher the better.
The higher the better. Absolutely.
The higher the better. And then another angle that maybe will all come into play as well is the kind of content that you're putting out to get them to click through and have a high rate, as they say, is you need a good content strategy. So what you're putting out, so your planning, your creation and the management of the content is really key. So it's like, think about what your pain points of your audience are, and have the things that will match that. So, whether it's video or, a blog or even a podcast or radio show, as they say. That all comes in play. So you actually then are creating the content to match the pain points of your audience.
Exactly. Another term you'll hear will be called influencer marketing. So, and this is just, I suppose, it's a marketing strategy where it involves collaborating with an individual who maybe have a large and engaged audience. And by they maybe promoting or endorsing your brand, it increases your opportunity to reach a wider group of people that maybe are your target audience.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are lots out there, and I'm sure we're all following a good few of them ourselves, but still in all, you don't know what you're putting out. You could be an influencer, just like Mr. T here,
We're both influencers in our own right. Well, in our own headspace.
Well, it's not my house anyway. I have no influence there, but and that's another thing that brings me on to is are people talking about you? Are they, Philip? Are they?
I don't know.
Have you checked out to see? So one thing you want to see, if you are an influencer, or maybe you're not, don't worry about it, is to see what people are saying about you on social. And the term would be social listening. So that means go in and have a look. So go in and, I'm not saying Google your name. Well, Google your name anyway, but go Google your search for your business online and see what kind of things come up and what people are saying. because there could be someone out there who's singing your praises, or maybe not. So that's where you have to just check these things, and see that you're doing a good job. Isn't that what they say?
Absolutely.
You
might, as a business owner, might be hearing terms like a social media manager or social media management. And that basically means it's just a social media manager is essentially someone who will manage the process of creating and scheduling and analyzing and engaging with social media content on your behalf. So you're essentially put in a place to manage your social media.
And that would include, you say, community and replying back to people as well, not just posting. So there is quite a lot in it. So so whoever's doing your social media management, give them a pat on the back, because there's a lot going on with that. No. And then that brings to what kind of platforms they're actually managing for you. So social media platforms means the different channels. So like whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, it just goes on, doesn't it? So, are they looking after your platforms for you, and just keeping an eye on things and making sure that you're all good? It's being on the right platforms is super, super key as well. So wherever your audiences are likely to be, you need to be on that platform.
Exactly. And that leads on to, well, if you ever hear the term target audience or customer persona, they're one and the same thing. Who are the specific group of people you are trying to target with your product or service? So knowing who they are is very important. So
and getting them and understanding what their interests are. And again, keep saying pain points, but you all search for a solution, and you need to be there to be that solution,
Exactly.
So Philip, what about going viral? And those poor social media managers are out there going, they want this to go viral. How am I going to go viral? It just means having the kind of content that will engage and get lots of engagement and become popular and is widely shared. So that's what you want to kind of focus on. So it all comes back down to who's your target audience, what are their pain points, what kind of content would engage them. And that's how you would start to leverage that and go viral.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll go viral. What do you think?
Well, unfortunately, there is no guaranteed way to go viral. It's just sometimes content that you don't expect to go viral goes viral. And then content you think, oh, this is going to go viral, doesn't go viral. So sometimes you just...
Depends on the weather. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You want to take a chance. Yeah, it's like anything on social media. You just don't know unless you give it a go.
Exactly. KPI, key performance indicator. If you've ever heard of this, it is just a measurable value that you use to track and evaluate your progress. So you might set for yourself a KPI in social media, a very simple one of maybe 10% follower growth each month. So you're trying to get 10% more followers from the previous month. So that might be a KPI that you measure and see, is what you're doing on social allowing you to do that?
That's actually a good benchmark, actually. Not too big and not too small.
Exactly.
And the last one I thought would be a good one to wrap up on is, and it can be a word that's hard to pronounce. So algorithm. I can't even don't ask me how to spell it, but algorithm. And it's basically a set of rules used by the social media channels. They put them in place. And it's their, we all say, oh, it's great, you can get on Facebook and blah, 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 but there are rules in place and the kind of content that they feel will be set within those rules, and whether it could go against you, but then it might go for you,
absolutely. And they're constantly changing, unfortunately. You'll hear about, Instagram or TikTok have changed the algorithm and my views have gone right down. It is just one of those things. And that's why we always say, just don't build your audience on the social media platforms. Try and build that email list. Build them on where you have full control. Get them back to your website.
And have a nice full website with lots of content on it to engage your audience. And then they might go check out your socials.
Exactly.
So there you go.
So there we go. A whole raft of terms that some you may have heard of, some maybe you've heard of, but you didn't know what they meant. So hopefully this maybe gives you a bit of clarity.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have to touch on this again. There's more terms, I'm sure, that people would
Absolutely.
be interested in. So maybe we'll come back on that. So,
yeah.
But
100%.
anyway, Philip, that was it.
Yeah.
That time flew.
It did.
Where did that go?
I don't know.
So anyway, I was going to say to hopefully there are people out there watching and listening. If you find today's show anyway engaging, hopefully, and we made a good impression, maybe click through and listen to some more of us.
Yeah,
I'm on a roll here, you know.
I love it,
and go check us out on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, and the Dublin South FM website. Podcasts, as they say.
Absolutely. And we're on YouTube on the Let's Get Social Show channel. So do head over there. You can catch all the videos there. Give us a like, give us a comment, do subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of the future videos we pop up.
Yes, indeed. And as I say, don't forget to go and send us an old email if you want at Dublin South FM. The email. Oh, what's the email again? Info.
It's inquiries at
Dublin
South FM. Oh my God.
I've got all these terms in my head. I'm forgetting everything now. I'll have to go and have a lie down after all this. I think so. Yeah. So do send us an email, guys. And we'd love to, turn whatever you are interested in into a show. So.
Absolutely. So listen, thanks again for listening. This show will be up fairly soon then on the podcast and on the YouTube channel, but we hope you enjoyed today's show and we'll catch you again on Dublin South FM next Friday at 2 p.m.
Thanks a million. See you then.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.